things depend on how well the thing before it
Right.
does. So we're pretty optimistic that Petals on the Wind will do well, and they'll go forward with If There Be Thorns and Seeds of Yesterday. They've also have a writer on My Sweet Audrina.
Do that. Ooh.
And we're in negotiations with Garden of Shadows. So, it's like everything else. If things succeed, then people want to do them. What I always hope for is that there'll be some loyalty to the book, to its themes, to its characters, and it'll somehow capture the V.C. Andrews genre, the V.C. Andrews tone. That's very important to the fan base, and basically we have to hope that is maintained. I did one movie with independent producer. I wrote the script for Rain.
Yeah.
That movie's out on Hulu and Netflix and other streamlining outlets. And we had an Academy Award winner, Faye Dunaway, in it. We had Robert Loggia, Academy Award nominee. We had Donna Summer's daughter, Brooklyn Sudano, as the main character. And we had a lot of other good character actors. And we were able to at least to control the concept. And that's what's really important.
So, what other projects? Well, first, let me ask you this. Of all the books that you've written for V.C. Andrews, and then also all the books that you've written under your own name, which ones would you like to see as TV movies or regular movies the most?
One of the most popular ones in the V.C. Andrews genre is the Ruby, the first book, the Cajun Creole series, also known as the Landry series. 2 different times we've had that into miniseries script. Once at CBS and once at Lifetime.
Oh.
And they spent all that money to develop those scripts, and at the last moment there were changes in personnel, and those projects dropped off the table. But it's still one of the most popular series written that we've had. So I'd like to see a return to Ruby. We've been pitching it around town. We came close at a couple places. Some of these places, I have to believe, have to kick themselves in the head because they turned down Ruby's series before Flowers in the Attic came out,
Oh.
which made a record for Lifetime with 6.1 million viewers.
Yeah.
So I have no doubt that whoever picks up a V.C. Andrews series is going to do well. Currently, actually today, this afternoon, I'll be meeting at Warner Brothers to try to get them to go forward with a television series based on my prequel to The Devil's Advocate, known as Judgment Day. I've written the treatment, I've written actually the first hour of the pilot, or it could be the pilot if it's an hour pilot. So we're making that presentation today to Warner Brothers Television, and obviously that's one that I want to see done the most. It's right now in development in London as a stage musical. I have just recently acquired the composer Richard John, who's the music director of Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, which just opened on the West End as a hit show. I wrote the libretto with a London dramatist and director, Julian Wolford, and we have, as a music director for our show, Mike Dixon, who's done many shows. In fact, he's the music director currently of The Bodyguard on the West End. I have really good people working with this. We are hoping the music will be finished in its composition before the end of the year. We already have a German production company very interested in picking it up. In the meantime, Wallace Theatre in the Netherlands have already contracted to do the stage play, no music, stage play, of The Devil's Advocate, and it'll be on tour in the Netherlands spring of 2015. So with all that happening around the title, which is still a movie constantly played on all kinds of networks, I'm really hopeful that we'll get more done.
Wow, that's so cool. I'm a former musical theater person, so I very much appreciate that. And the fact that you wrote the libretto. What's a pitch meeting like for you?
A pitch meeting is interesting. I've been to pitch meetings that have lasted 5 minutes and some that have lasted almost 40 minutes. It really depends on the attention span of the people you're pitching to.
Yeah.
Pitching is another skill and technique in and of itself. Most novelists don't do it. But I was also a teacher of film study, and I'm very acquainted with with the differences between a novel and a film. So when you go to a pitch meeting, within the first 5 minutes, you've got to be able to establish what this is going to be about, who the main characters are, what the sets will be like, how much is going to be the production in terms of cost, and how could it possibly be carried on into a series. And you have to do that within that short period of time. So in other words, you have to have your game plan pretty much designed, and you bounce off whomever you're speaking to as far as how much further you go.
And do you go in with a full script or a scriptment or just a treatment?
It's really wise to go in with a treatment, or at least the question you always get is, I like this, but how would you lay it out? And basically you have to be able to do that, because most people who are in executive positions are not writers. They are looking at it from the marketing point of view, and looking at it from a production cost point of view, and so you have to get that down so you could show them how easy it would be to cast this and to develop it. Again, hopefully within 5-10 minutes.
Wow. That is definitely its own sort of skill. I sort of think of that like a skill where you're auditioning versus the acting work that you're doing.
Yeah, you're basically auditioning.
Wow.
You're auditioning your story.
Well, that's actually a great way to think about it. Well, finally, what advice would you give young writers?
Read. There's nothing more important than reading. I read constantly, even though I work this much. I'm an eclectic reader. I read all different kinds of writers. You want to know what's going on out there, what people are interested in. Not that you should write specifically for a market necessarily, but at least you want to know where you are in terms of if you're writing to be published, you should know what is being published. And reading will build up your own ability to write and inspire you. So I would say reading is the most important thing. The second thing I always tell writers is, do not talk your story. Never tell anybody your story. Because once you get it out of you, you get out the energy. You want it to be in you so with such a intensity that the only way to get it out is to do it, to write it. But if you talk it, you've taken something away from yourself. So don't ever do that.
Oh. Well, thank you very much.